Do you feel like you're talking to crickets when you first start your live video and you're like, is anybody there? Hello? Is this thing on? Can people hear me? You're like tapping on the microphone. And is anybody on the other end? Right? Nobody ever responds to your questions. You're not really engaging. Well, I've got a perfect solution for you. I've been able to kind of master the art of engagement, and I'm going to give you tips here on this training video how to engage your community, how to grab their attention right away, and how I first got started. So if you're new to live streaming, let me know. And if that's you, I'm going to share a little bit about my backstory of how I got started with live streaming and kind of what was my mindset going into it and how I've been able to build up my engagement. I do Facebook live videos Monday through Friday at 10 a.m. Eastern as of the last 3 years. And I have hundreds of comments on my live videos when I go live. When I first got started, of course, I had like 0. But how did I get it built up, right? How did I start getting people to engage from the beginning? So I'm going to share that with you guys here today. So, hey, everyone, let me know where you're tuning in from. Where and what part of the world, what corner of the internet are you watching this video from? Where do you live? I'm a little curious. I'm in Destin, Florida. So if you've ever been to Florida, let me know. If you've ever been to Destin, Florida, we live in a beach town. It's beautiful outside right now. We love the beach, so we spend a lot of time there. My name is Fallon Zoe, and I've been doing live streaming for 4 years now on Facebook. Facebook is my predominant platform, and I have been doing a scheduled, meaning like a regular show, Monday through Friday, 10 a.m. Eastern for the last 3 years. I've been doing live streaming for 4 years and a regular schedule for the last 3 years. 5 days a week, no matter what, I show up. And like I said in the beginning, I've been able to learn how to build hundreds of comments on my broadcasts and really learn how to engage people. Not only is it important for your algorithm on Facebook, but it's also really important to see where your community, like, what are they thinking? What are they feeling? Are they resonating with what you're talking about? Are you just rambling? Are you just yakking at nobody and people aren't really engaging? So I'm going to give you tips here today that you can implement immediately and start having positive results. All right. So tip number 1, let's start there. Tip number 1 is definitely you want to engage people right from the beginning. Right from the beginning, as soon as you start your live stream. And you might think that this is a little bit silly. It's like, nobody's watching my broadcast. Why would I talk to nobody when I first start? Well, most of your views on Facebook are going to come from the replay. Okay, so live video on Facebook as of currently is a little different than other platforms. Is live video on Facebook lives there forever until you delete it. And you want to pay attention. Yes, you're doing a live stream broadcast, but you're also creating a recorded video at the same time. So as soon as you start your live video, you want to but you want to engage your audience, or you want to start talking immediately as soon as you start to engage people as they're watching the replay. Okay. So you're not necessarily talking to the live viewers when you first start, you're talking to your replay viewers. And if you don't engage people within the first 10 seconds of starting your live video, then you're missing out on a massive piece of your engagement, a massive part of retaining your viewers. If you don't capture their attention and kind of like hook their attention, hook their eyes right away, then they're not going to continue. Facebook has, and I watch my own video stats and kind of see what the variation is, but the average watch time of video is about 1 minute, if not just a little bit less than 1 minute. Okay, the average watch time of video content, or like a live stream video, is 1 minute. So if you do a 20-minute broadcast, the average watch time is still about 1 minute, because there's going to be people who watch for 3 seconds. That's where Facebook starts tracking it, is any 3 seconds or after it starts tracking that. So that accounts to, are people tuning into your broadcast and then like you're not grabbing their attention and they tune out? This is not good. It's not good on Facebook as far as the algorithm goes, and it's not good to not being able to grab people's attention right away, right? Like, why are they watching your broadcast? So tip 1 is engage people within 10 seconds of starting your video. For example, when I first started this training video, I did what? I asked a question. I said, does it feel like there's crickets on the other end of your video? Like, can anybody hear me? Hello? Is anybody there? So I asked a question that I knew would be a yes. Okay, this is like a little bit of a secret ninja tip when you're starting your broadcast. When you engage people, ask a question that you know the answer is going to be yes. You know your audience, you know your community, you know how to deliver, you know what they struggle with, right? Because you're creating content to help them. And you've maybe worked with clients or people before, and you know what some of their questions are. So ask a question that you already know the answer to that's going to be yes. I always want to start off my broadcast with a yes type question. So as I'm starting it, like, hey, does it feel like you're talking to crickets? Or do you have crickets on your broadcast when you do your live stream? And you're like, yes, I do. I need help with this, right? It triggers that, yeah, I do, and I need help with this. And it keeps people engaged and tuning in a little bit longer to see what else you have to say. All right, so that's tip number one. And the secret sauce of tip number one is ask a yes question, or some version of a yes question that gets people like nodding their head. Yep, that's me. And it gets them to say, yeah, this is relevant information for me. Okay. Tip number two of engaging your audience is ask questions throughout your broadcast that are kind of open-ended. Okay. So you want to do a mix of these. I'm going to say tip number three is going to be just ask questions. But if you want to get better questions or better responses, my tip number two is ask open-ended questions. And here's what I mean by that is, let's say I ask a question of, hey, let's just say you spilled your coffee. You're like, oh, ha, 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 I spilled my coffee, or whatever. Your cat knocked over your tripod. Ask your community, like turn it into content, turn it into a conversation. So ask your audience or your community. Let's say you train live streamers. I don't know. You would say something open-ended. What's the craziest thing that's ever happened to you on a live broadcast? So you see how this isn't a yes or no question. It requires a response. And it gets people talking about a story or something that happened to them that might be a little bit longer of a conversation, a little bit longer of a comment. And this is also a hack when it comes to the algorithm and inspiring conversation. Facebook wants you to inspire conversation. Okay, they want dialogue back and forth between you, the live streamer, and other people in the comments talking to other people. And if you can get people to, or inspire people to comment with a little bit longer, and I said, what's a little bit longer? Over 100 characters is preferred, okay? Facebook has, if anybody remembers the Facebook Creator app, it's gone now, they've got rid of it. But when the Facebook Creator app was out, I actually looked at some of the settings within the app, and there was a setting that said only allow comments over 100 characters to be allowed on your live stream. And I was like, oh, wait a second, what's that? So Facebook kind of accidentally published one of their algorithm, like key things, to only allow. Facebook has published comments that are over 100 characters are more valuable. Now that app is long gone, but the idea is still the same. So if you can encourage people to comment something over 100 characters, you're going to get, your broadcast is going to have more value according to Facebook. Okay. Now you don't have to say like, hey guys, only comment, something over 100 characters. And people are like, what are you talking about? But when you ask open-ended questions, which is my tip number two, ask open-ended questions, it gets them to say a little bit more versus just yes or no or maybe or just a one-word thing. If I said, hey, what's the craziest thing that's ever happened to you on a live stream? That requires a little bit more of a response. Okay, so inspiring conversation in that capacity. My tip number three was just get used to asking questions. I try to ask questions about every minute, 2 minutes roughly. And this is just an internal clock that I have going on in my head. And you don't always have to say things like, hey guys, comment this or comment where you're tuning in from. You could just say something like, hey guys, Where are you tuning in from today? What part of the world are you from? I try not to use the word comment while I'm broadcasting. Facebook does have, I forget what's the technical term here, but they're listening to your audio, okay? There's settings within Facebook, especially like on business pages, where you can auto transcribe your broadcast as soon as it's done. So it tells you that they are listening to the language and the text and the words that you're using on your live stream while it's live, because it can automatically transcribe it as soon as your live video is done and complete within, seconds. And so it tells you they're listening to the words that you're saying. And Facebook has also released in the past that they are diminishing words that are engagement baiting. Okay, so like the word share, the word comment. It's not that, oh, I said the word comment, oh, my broadcast is going to be deleted. That's not what happens. But try not to say comment, 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 or things that are baiting people to just comment words, just to comment for the sake of commenting. You want to inspire the comment, okay? You want to inspire the share versus demand it. And this is something that I always try to stick to. So instead of saying, hey, comment where you're tuning in from, just say, hey, where are you guys tuning in from? And maybe use your finger like, hey, let me know below where you guys tuning in from. I didn't have to say the word comment. Let me know below where you guys tuning in from. I'd love to know. I'm in Destin, Florida today. It's beautiful. We live on the beach. Do you live in the mountains? Do you live by the beach? Do you live in town? Where do you live? And then what part of the world are you from? So I can inspire comments versus demand them. Okay, so that's definitely another big tip. All right, what number are we on? 4. Tip number 4 is use words that have, I forget the actual name of them now. You'll know what I'm talking about when I describe it here. Like the word or the phrase, you got this, or the word congratulations, or happy birthday, is those words are, Facebook picks them up when you type them and it animates them. Okay, you guys know what I'm talking about now, right? So this is specific to Facebook. And Facebook notices those words and they want to encourage you, or they give you a little bit of a like, woohoo, when you say happy birthday, like little balloons go, woo, or you say congratulations, it goes poof, and then you get like this little poof of animation to your word. It's kind of fun. And it triggers you to use that word more often, right? Like in your mind as a user, you're like, something cool happens when I say congratulations. And so encourage your community to use these words on your broadcast, on your live stream. It actually could boost your algorithm a little bit the more times that people are saying congratulations or any of those words. And you might have to do a little bit of Googling here because sometimes they have words and then they remove words and stuff like that. But like, XOXO is another phrase that applies to that animated words. Congratulations, happy birthday. Those are some of the big ones, like you got this. Those are some of the big ones that are out there. But you might have to I'll jump on Google and see if there is a updated list that somebody has published somewhere that kind of give you a little bit better idea. All right, so that's another tip number 4, is use those animated words, or encourage your community to use animated words in your broadcast like that, okay, by asking certain questions that would get people to use those words. All right. And tip number 5 of how to engage your audience or your community more is be animated yourself, okay? Be animated and smile and engaging, and ask if people can relate to what you're talking about. This is kind of very similar to my tip number 3 of ask open-ended questions. So tip number 5 is similar, but ask as you're telling a story, ask if people can relate to what you're talking about. So this would help you get people to comment and respond on your broadcast without saying like, comment below, like, what do you think? To say like, hey, have you ever had this happen to you? I was walking my dog the other day and There was another dog that came running out of nowhere. I didn't know what to do. Have you been in this situation before? Right? So I'm engaging people, of course. Like if you have a dog, you've probably had this scenario happen to you before in your life as a dog owner. Like everybody's had that happen. Or something similar, you know, you're at the grocery store and you had this happen. Or it's okay to tell fun, random stories that people could relate to. It gets them to open up. You're human, they're human, everybody's human. We're all talking about some stuff that's, you know, funny that happened or crazy story that maybe it relates to your broadcast and maybe it doesn't, but it gets people talking. It gets people talking, and it gets people to realize that you're like fun, and you know, you're fun to interact with, and you're engaging, and it feels like we're having a conversation on a broadcast. This is what people love, and you're going to have better results being able to build community and build up your know, like, and trust as a live streamer if you tell stories and have fun. And it's not serious business. Live streaming is not serious business. It's supposed to be fun, and it's supposed to be interactive. And another big tip that I have, okay, so let me go back in time here and tell you a story, is when I first started doing live streaming, of course, I didn't have anybody watching my broadcasts. I had nobody, but I still had this dialogue, like all these tips that I gave you, I still asked questions throughout my broadcast. I still engaged people even if they weren't there. I still said, hey, can you relate to this story at all? Even though nobody was watching. I would have one viewer, and the one viewer that I had was my spouse. And he was watching in the comments like, oh, ha, ha. And sometimes he wasn't even comment, but it was just like a viewer, and it made me feel a little bit better. But like that's what I had to work with in the beginning. And I, over time, because I consistently asked questions, because I consistently engaged, even though nobody was there, I still did it. So that way, when somebody was there, they knew how to respond. If you're not getting a good amount of comments on your broadcast, it means that maybe people don't know how to respond to your broadcast, or you're talking and you're rambling. Okay, I like breaking things up into bullet points. It really helps me stay on task, and it helps my community or my audience see the structure of what I'm talking about versus just talking, right? Just going on and on and on. Is when you break it up into bullet points or tips, is it helps your audience process the different information that you're sharing, and it gives you time to separate your thoughts and separate your questions and separate your engagement. Like, hey, here's tip number 3. If you've ever struggled with blah, 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 let me know if this has been a struggle of yours. Used to be a struggle of mine too. Here's what I did. So as I'm covering each bullet point, I can engage with questions that relate to that point versus just talking. Sometimes we forget to engage people as if we just talk, if we just yak, and we get a little long-winded, right? And maybe each bullet point of yours, kind of think about how long it might take you to cover each bullet point. And so if you have, 5 bullet points, then maybe spend 2 minutes on each bullet point. How long do you want your broadcast to be? Let's talk about that really quick. How long should it be? It's not about the length of your broadcast, how long, like if it's a 20-minute or 1 hour, it's about how long can you keep people's attention, okay? So when I first started doing live video, honestly, I only did about 5 or 6 minutes, under 10 minutes for sure, because I was learning how to engage people. And if I couldn't learn how to keep people's attention for 5 minutes, how was I going to keep somebody's attention for 20 minutes? This was my thought, and I still think this way, right? If I can't hold people's attention for 20 minutes, or for 7 minutes, how could I hold somebody's attention for 20 minutes? Like I need to learn the art of holding people's attention. And if I don't know how to do that in a short time, I'm definitely not going to be able to pull it off in a long time frame. And Facebook pays attention to your watch duration, okay? So if you have a 20-minute broadcast and people are jumping ship at minute 10 and you're still continuing to talk for another 10 minutes and nobody's there, or people start the broadcast and they stay tuned in for like 5 minutes and then they all jump ship and you're going on for another 15 minutes, Facebook tracks like, this is a 20-minute broadcast and they're only watching for 5 minutes. They're only watching for 3 minutes. No good. And the algorithm and the reach of that broadcast is going to go significantly down. Versus if you kept a shorter broadcast, you kept everybody on for the entire time, roughly, and there is no 100% on that one, but you kept majority of your viewers or the majority of people like on the replay, also that applies to the replay, watched from start to finish. This is the goal, okay? And you want to shoot for that. Also, when you're ending your broadcast, is don't ramble. Don't ramble. This used to be a huge struggle of mine. Have you ever been like, how do you land the plane? Have you been in this situation? I can start the broadcast fine. I could hold people's attention in the middle just fine. But when it came to the end of my video, I was like, I don't know why I got so nervous, but I didn't know how to land the plane. And I really struggled with this for a long time. So my tip is just land it. Land that dang plane. Just plant it down on the ground. Quit hovering over the runway, and then you get nervous, and then you do this whole, like, you go on around the runway all over again, do another lap, and people are like, okay. And this is what, if you have ever found yourself logging out of somebody's live broadcast or on the replay, and you felt them rambling, you felt the video kind of like winding down, and you jumped out. Have you ever done this? Are you going to admit to it? I have. It's like, okay, video's done. Even though they're still talking, I know that it's winding down. And I jump ship. Like, hey, I'm busy. I got other stuff to do. They're done with all their value now. They're just going to ramble. So when you're done with your broadcast, just end it. Hit the button. See you later, right? Toodaloo kangaroo. See you tomorrow. So, and then hit the button. The more abrupt, and this is always kind of my goal, the more abrupt that you can be with the ending of your video, you're going to increase your watch duration. Okay? You're going to increase your watch duration because people don't feel that winding down, and you just end it. And they can't jump ship before you're ready to pull into the dock or whatever you want to call it. Whatever analogy we want to use here. All right? A little bit helpful. So I hope these tips helped you. How to engage your community, how to engage your audience, how to increase your engagement. It's definitely like game changer tips that I shared with you. And if you have success with these, come back to this broadcast. Let me know what helped you most or what was your favorite tip. And if you have any questions, of course, you can put them below. All right, guys, see you soon.